Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, Jo Re Mi Fa Sol La Keto. I'm Jure and I do vlogs and meal preps to share my keto health journey. Normally I meal prep for 3 meals every week and I'm still meal prepping for 3 meals, but I've already made 2 of these meals in my previous videos. So the meals I'm making this week are sausage and cabbage, ribs made in the Instapot, and the new recipe that I'm making this week is an easy chicken enchilada casserole from Ketogenic. Also with the ribs, I'm going to try to make my own quick pickles, or Quickles as I want to call them. My husband thinks that's not a thing, but I'm going to try to make that a thing. So really this video, I'm only going to make 1 meal and some Quickles. So let's go ahead and show all the ingredients I'm using today. Okay, so the majority of the ingredients that I'm using are for the enchilada casserole. So I'm gonna start over here. I have some rotisserie chicken. I think the recipe calls for like chicken thighs or chicken breast. I feel like I'm gonna speed this up by just using rotisserie chicken. I also have sour cream, some cheese, some xanthan gum to thicken it up. For the spices, we have some chili powder, garlic powder, onion powder, some cumin and oregano. And then we also have some chicken bouillon to make this like a chicken broth. The chilies, it says to do 1 can, but I still have this big jar of chilies, so I'm just gonna use these chilies instead of like a little can of chilies. We got some butter, and this is olives. So most of the stuff you kind of mix together and then put it in a skillet. So that's what I'm gonna try to do today. This should be a pretty quick meal prep. And then for the pickles on this side, honestly guys, I've never done this before. All I know is that for pickles, you would have, I think it's 3 parts vinegar to 1 part water. So I have my measuring cup here. I haven't put any vinegar in it yet, but this is what I'm gonna do to measure this. Then I also have garlic and then my mason jars that I have here. And I'm going to put inside some onions and cucumbers. And then I found this little peppercorn spice blend that my husband bought a while ago, so we're gonna try that in the bottom. I'm gonna get started really quick on the Quickles first. So let's go ahead and get our pickles started. Right in this cup, I have 1.5 cups of white vinegar. You can use rice vinegar or apple cider vinegar. I used white vinegar just because I wanted it to be a little bit more neutral tasting. I am gonna add some hot water to this. You could probably hear the tea kettle going on in the background. You could definitely boil some water on the stove, but I like my tea kettle, just is way quicker. But to my vinegar, I'm gonna add a teaspoon of some salt. And I'm gonna let that kind of dissolve a little bit. I wanna use this again, so I want a different spoon. And everybody, I know this is not the way that you would normally make pickles, and there's a whole bunch of different ways you can make them. But again, we're trying to make these really quick. I'm not trying to be all professional about this. Okay, here we are. Gonna add another cup. Actually, I think 1/2 cup of the hot water to my vinegar. I'm gonna stir that a little bit, and then we're gonna get our veggies in these cups. I'm gonna layer some of the seasonings first. So I'm gonna put some of these peppercorns at the bottom. I'm not measuring anything. Do I ever really do that? To me, I'm like, that looks good. And now that I think about it, I do want to make these like sweet, spicy pickles. So I'm gonna put in some crushed red pepper, a little bit there. Put some in that one. Honestly, I don't know if I'm gonna use 2 jars. I feel like this will fit in 2 jars. So if I need to make some more vinegar mixture, I can definitely do that. Then let's put some of our onions in here. And then our cucumbers. So this is an English cucumber, and I did slice the edges just to make them look kind of stripy because I thought it would just look nice in the jar. I don't really think you have to do that. And then since I want them sweet, I am gonna add a little bit of monk fruit sweetener. I need to buy some more. This bag is like almost gone. And we're gonna fill up the jars. So we wanna make sure they're covered. And so I'm running out of it. I'm gonna have to make one more batch of this to cover the second jars. Don't they look awesome? They look like, you know, fancy. Oh shoot, I forgot to add garlic. You know what? We're just gonna put a little bit on the top, shake it up a little bit. There we go, ready to go in the fridge. Yeah, I'll come back and try these tomorrow, but we're gonna go ahead and get started on the enchilada casserole. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, this recipe is from Keto Connect, and I'll go ahead and post a link to their recipe in the description below. But first we're gonna add some butter, let that melt, add some of the chicken broth and xanthan gum, and then we'll add our chicken in there. So next we're gonna add the chili, the olives, and all of the spices. So I do want to put out a disclaimer here. This is not like my grandma's enchiladas. This is not how we make enchiladas in my family, but this recipe looked pretty good and it also looked really easy, so that's why I wanted to try it. But the next thing we're gonna add is our chicken. Since I use the rotisserie chicken, the recipe does call for you to actually cook the chicken in here, take it out, add the sour cream, and then shred your chicken and put it back in. But I feel like I skipped a whole bunch of steps, so I'm just gonna add the sour cream now. So I'm gonna taste this real quick and just see if I need to add any more spices. I mean, it tastes pretty good. I do like heat, so I'm gonna add just a little bit more chili powder. And I know chili powder doesn't add like a ton of heat, but I wanted just a little bit more flavor there. And most likely, you know, I'm gonna add some green chili on it after. But the next step here is just to top everything with cheese and get it in the oven for about 10 minutes. I have a little bit of leftover pepper jack cheese, so I want to go ahead and use some of this too. And I'm going to get this in the oven. Here's the enchilada casserole out of the oven. So this looks so good. So I'm going to go ahead and try this real quick. So here this is in my bowl. I'm not really sure I would call this a casserole. Maybe I could have added more xanthan gum or something because it's not very thick. This is more like an enchilada soup. And honestly, if it tastes good, I don't really care if it's a soup. Works for me. So it's pretty hot. Ooh. Take a little bit of the broth. It tastes pretty good. I do feel like I'm missing a little bit of a kick. I'm probably gonna add a little bit more salt. And with me, I like more heat, so I'm gonna add some roasted chilies. But other than that, I'm pretty happy about this meal for the week. This recipe technically makes 6 servings, but each serving is only about 309 calories is what it says. So I'm gonna split this into 4 just to make it so it's closer to 500 calories. That's usually where I like to be at. Since I only eat 2 meals a day, I want them to be at least 500 calories. That gives me room for some coffee, maybe some snacks or extras. So say I want to add some avocado to this or something, I have room for that. So I'm gonna come back tomorrow and try those Quickles. I want them to sit for at least a day and see how they taste. With those, the longer you let them sit, the more they're gonna pickle and just taste better. So I'm gonna give it just a day though. Okay everyone, I'm back and it has been a couple days. Now I'm ready to try the Quickles. And yes, it's a thing. My husband has been arguing with me like every day on this. I will say that I tried these the next day and they were still pretty crunchy and they were very vinegary, if that's a word. So I ended up adding some more water in it to make it less like kick. I really like vinegar. Maybe you don't, but I'm gonna go ahead and try these. So here it is too. It does look a little softer than it was when I put it in. I'm not gonna eat any of those peppercorns. I did make a mistake of eating that and it was not a good idea. We'll just say that. But here we are. The vinegar is really strong. I would probably change my ratio next time I do these and use more water to vinegar, like 3 parts water to 1 part vinegar, which I did it the other way around. And even though I added more water in this, it's still like very vinegary. It's good. I like vinegar, so it doesn't bother me that much. Like I'm still gonna eat them. But I think for some of you, it might be just a little bit like too much on the vinegar. So I'm gonna try one of these onions. It was really good. I'd probably even add some more different vegetables. Like I'm sure you could put some cauliflower in here, some peppers in here, and just pickle a whole bunch of stuff. But I thought this was good. Like I said, next time, more water, less vinegar, but I'm gonna still eat these. But that's all that I have today. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the little bell icon to get a notification every time I post a new video. I'll see you next time. Bye.